Yes. Well, welcome everybody. Thank y'all for being on tonight. This is Gary Simmonds out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and you all are in for an absolute treat. I'm just opening it up really quickly. I'm not going to be the host or the speaker. Just wanted to make sure everyone was in their respected places. And some of you may not have heard of our company, Ellie MD, but we're becoming a household name really fast. Telemedicine at the concierge level, specializing in peptides, right? Ellie MD is a telemedicine platform that believes in personalization. And I've been in the space of peptides now for about 11 months as a user. And what happened, I didn't even know what peptides was 11 months ago. I was dealing with sleep apnea. I was overweight, high blood pressure, pre-diabetic, was tired of losing weight. I did all the things, guys, and I'm not going to get too much into my story. But if a guy like me can actually have a start like this is where I was when I first got introduced to it. About 2.5 months in, I got off my CPAP. I did my blood work a couple months ago in May. I went for my checkup to see my doctor, and they were absolutely blown away. My blood pressure is now 110/72, and my A1C is 5.1. And guess what? I came down 80 pounds. And no, I didn't lose all my lean muscle like everybody thinks. There are other peptides here other than just weight loss. We have peptides for sexual wellness. We have peptides for performance. We have peptides for building lean muscle. And so I'm not going to educate you on what peptides are at all because I'm not the presenter today. I'm going to be sitting back and taking some notes. So I'm going to call to the line Ms. Cindy Crayder. She's an educator and an advanced director here at Ellie MD. She was able to organize this call and get our special guests rallied up. And as our normal practice, we'll open up with a couple of stories. We have a couple of really sharp ladies that she's going to bring on, medical professionals as well. Just so some of you who haven't heard of what peptides are, you don't have a history or a background, you can hear how lives are being changed. So Cindy, if you can do that really quickly, and they can jump into the meat and potatoes with our special guests. We're so excited that you're on today. Can you hear me?
I sure can. Thank you so much. Welcome, everybody. We are so excited for this very special edition of Power of Peptides this evening. And we are thrilled to have special guest, Dr. Jason Pencek, with us. But before I bring him on, I'm going to have a few people share their stories and their journeys with peptides. And I'm going to ask Tina Taylor to share with us first a little bit about her journey with peptides. And so, Tina, if you could join us and give us a little.
Sure. Absolutely. Thank you, Ms. Crayder, and thank you, Mr. Simmonds. Yes, I'm Tina Taylor. I'm a nurse practitioner in South Texas. I've been a nurse practitioner for about 10 years now, and the last couple of years have really moved towards the wellness side. And I've been fortunate enough to really help people get their lives back. That's what I say. I hear it every day. I feel like myself again. Life transformations have been happening, not just with the weight loss and the GLP-1s, but there are so many other peptides. And you're going to learn about more of that tonight and the benefits and the transformations that they can make. So thank you all for being here. I'm super excited. This is just going to be amazing.
Thank you so much, Tina. And we also have another nurse practitioner, Latoya Moody, who's going to share a little bit about her journey with peptides so far. Latoya?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, guys. I'm Latoya Moody, and I'm a nurse practitioner. I work in infectious disease, and I'm also a professional bodybuilder. And before even working with them as a practitioner, I knew a lot about peptides through the bodybuilding arena, but a lot of it was research grade, so I was always really afraid to kind of dabble into that world. But seeing how much of an impact it's made with my patients, guys, I've seen patients with wounds that wouldn't heal, with cancer in their wounds because of, just metabolic dysfunction, enter peptide therapy, and it's like night and day, complete turnaround. Patients no longer diabetic, weight loss, wounds have healed. I've also seen, unfortunately, the result of the medical model, really kind of failing a patient and not having access to those peptides, and, the metabolic dysfunction just kind of taking over and causing, infections to override their body, and they die, all very young. And so I'm a big fan of peptide therapy. Once I started using them myself, as you see there, they really, changed my life. I realized how much of an impact these were going to make to everyone. And I just can't say enough. So thank you so much for allowing me to share.
Thank you so much, Latoya. So thank you for sharing tonight. And I would like to formally introduce our very special guest this evening, Dr. Jason Pencek. I have been following him on Instagram and sharing his content and stories and information since I started my peptide journey back in September. And I couldn't even pronounce the word tirzepatide when I first started. So I learned so much from him and still continue to learn so much from him. So I am super excited to have him on our Zoom tonight. He is a chiropractor and nurse practitioner. He also is trained in advanced therapies, IV nutrients, peptides, stem cells, and just so well respected and well known as an expert in the peptide world. So Dr. Pencek, if you are there, could you please join us? And if I missed anything and left anything out, please feel free to add in.
You did not. Cindy, that transformation picture before and after, really impressive, by the way. Great job.
Oh, thank you.
Way to go. Yeah, I've been doing
Thank you.
peptides now for about 6 years, a little over that now. And I started in this about 9 or 10 years ago. I started to practice doing longevity medicine, hormones, injectables, IVs, and then accidentally found peptides. My friends kept joking that they wanted the steroids after they'd spent years of me being in school and wanting me to get finished. And I started looking up growth hormone. And the first thing popped up was CJC 1295 and ipamorelin, which we now know are growth hormone peptides. Right away, I got interested and reached out to a friend of mine who opened up longevity clinics and was doing IVs for clinics. And one of her clinics happened to be using peptides at the time. I got all the resources I could and then dived into my first seminar led by Dr. Seeds, one of his first masterminds, and also one of his first larger seminars about growth hormone peptides and just how to use peptides in general, which are, I think people don't understand what peptides are. The first thing that we need to talk about is what is a peptide, right? Just so people understand, peptides are these small, basically we call them mini proteins. So I think a lot of us can understand what proteins are, but peptides just take amino acids, which are the building blocks for proteins, and takes between 2 to roughly 50, and they're put together in a sequence. Our body starts with some DNA that we make as a blueprint, turns into mRNA, and then you build out these proteins, basically mini proteins, now called peptides. So we think of it as a naming nomenclature. Basically, it's just different between peptide and proteins, just how big these groups of amino acids are. So we got into peptides, been into many, many years, and just like you've said, Cindy and everyone else here, Tina and Latoya, we have been in this peptide world for, getting into this stuff was super interesting, right? To think that you could get this little small molecule could just nudge things in any direction we want, right? There's peptides for improving hormones, for improving sexual libido, even tanning. There's things that you can use for weight loss, fat loss, immune regulation. Many of these peptides are naturally made. Some of them are not. You've heard of peptides before. If anyone has heard of insulin, it is one of the first peptides that people have ever learned about. Insulin has been out for many, many years, and it has been a great peptide. There's things like oxytocin, the love hormone we talk about pretty often. It is a peptide. So you have probably heard of peptides before unknowingly. And fortunately, we have a lot of people who are doing peptide medicine and using this to treat all sorts of disease conditions. The joke has always been, if you have something going on, there's a peptide for that. And I think anyone that has practiced or used peptides before now feels that way. We see peptides being used for a numerous amount of conditions, and I'll use peptides for pretty much anything in practice. Almost every patient I see, I talk to about peptides at some point, but we do a lot more than peptides in practice, but it is one of my main focuses in general.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for giving us a brief explanation, because I think a lot of people on this Zoom, it might be their first time ever actually hearing what a peptide is, because you hear it and you think, I don't even know what peptides are. So thank you so much for explaining that. Now, we had a few questions from some people, and love to hear your answers. Everyone's talking about GLP-1s. That's the huge talk in the peptide industry right now. So the question that most of us get asked a lot is, what is the difference between a GLP-1 and a GLP-1/GIP?
That's a great question. I have to say, at least from my standpoint, I think this is the really funny area where peptides became more brought to the public knowledge. Before that, a lot of these peptide places, people would go online, look for labs. Latoya, you said you were going online and buying stuff. Realistically, this is where all the bros were buying their peptides. Everyone was hearing peptides before, and there's a lot of people in the weightlifting industry who were using this stuff. It was not so mainstream. And then we got the GLP-1s. And then this is where the soccer mom meets the bro in the gym who's trying to get a bunch of muscle on. And it's been really funny because we've seen this intermix now. And more women are coming out and saying, hey, I've heard of peptides, I've heard this stuff. And GLP-1s are really that kind of starting point. I've been talking about GLP-1s and I've known about them for 6 years. When I first started doing peptide medicine, liraglutide was the first GLP-1 I heard about in practice. It wasn't very strong. It meant more injections. It was a bit more expensive. It didn't really do the weight loss that we see with the current GLP-1s like semaglutide and tirzepatide. And now we have this whole new generation of GLP-1s, such as semaglutide and tirzepatide, which have way more weight loss. Now, the big difference between a GLP-1, which is what everyone talks about. If you talk to anyone, people understand GLP-1s. GIP is a bit newer. Tirzepatide is one of the newer peptides, Mounjaro or Zepbound. The GIP is glucose-dependent insulin-tropic polypeptide, which is why we just say GIP, because most people, it's a big mouthful. We like the GIP because it does add a bit more weight loss to people. It improves insulin production even more. So this is what the GLP-1s and GIP do. They function as improving your insulin output, and they help insulin sensitivity. That's one of the big things they do. They're called incretins. In fact, this is mostly what we make in our pancreas to actually make more insulin, to produce this in our bodies. So giving this out to us can be very useful to help cover insulin in the body. The GIP adds a bit more fat loss, I would say, and preserves muscle a bit better. So the big difference between the GLP-1 and then the GLP-1 GIP, the single agonist versus dual agonist, is that the dual agonist is going to have a bit more weight loss. We see about 5 to 6% more weight loss using something like tirzepatide. The benefit also is you have more fat being lost and more muscle preserved. So the other big thing everyone worries about, right, is I don't want to lose lean body mass. We don't want to get to that skinny fat where we've lost a bunch of muscle mass. Is the number one thing everyone worries about is how much lean muscle am I going to lose? If you're taking a dual agonist, you'll have less of that muscle loss and more of that fat loss. Now, it does become close to negligible if you're starting to identify hormones and exercise and you're increasing your protein content. You can get to that same kind of level with a semaglutide. So don't want anyone out there rushing saying tirzepatide is the one thing that works, it's going to hold all my muscle mass. It does do a bit better at that, but in our patient population, at least, we use a lot more semaglutide than tirzepatide, and we still see the same amount of lean body mass being held. So we keep the muscle mass in these patients. But again, the GIP does add more of the insulin sensitivity. So you do see people that have a better loss, a lowering of their hemoglobin A1C, which is how we track blood sugar in patients. So hemoglobin A1C lets you know what your sugar is. And you see a better job of the GIP-GLP combination than you even see with the GLP by itself. So the dual agonist does do better. The really only area that I'd say the traditional single agonist GLP works better right now that we are pretty sure about is the brain improvements, the cognitive function improvements, and reduction of Alzheimer's. You do see a better job with the GLP-1 singly by itself. I will also say the other thing we see a lot of is the reduction of cravings. This is a big thing I think people kind of miss out on. Cravings are huge. I love sugar. Absolutely love sugar, as many people probably do. Some people have alcohol as a problem. Coffee might be a problem. Who knows what your craving might be? But the single GLP by itself, semaglutide, is much better at the craving control than the actual dual agonist. So not that I'm saying that people should run out there and say, hey, I really want my cravings to go down, I should use the GLP-1 semaglutide by itself. You do have food noise going down from both of these when you go doing weight loss. As a long-term solution, though, I have a lot of patients on semaglutide over tirzepatide just in my practice, because I do like the craving control I see from it personally, which is kind of why I put more people on it than tirzepatide long-term. Though tirzepatide does have a really good job of reducing inflammation, just like the GLP-1s. The big thing I have to just let to come away from this is you do see a better reduction of your insulin, or not your insulin, of your glucose. So your sugar levels go down further. And you do see more weight loss with the GIP. There might be some added inflammation benefits from adding the GIP. This is still kind of up in the air. We do know that inflammation in general goes down from the GLP-1. So anyone out there that's worried about inflammation and wants to bring this down, either the GLP-1 or GLP-1 GIP could be very useful. But again, weight loss, number one, lean body mass, tirzepatide wins every time. So I'm always recommending a tirzepatide to patients that are really concerned about losing their muscle mass, because it is much better held with using the tirzepatide. Soon enough, we'll have the triple agonists. Those will be even better, but they haven't come out yet. So currently right now, the two we have options of semaglutide and tirzepatide do a really good job at improving that weight loss. And again, I'm a big fan of reducing cravings for patients. I want my cravings to be almost zero from the things I want, like sugar. And I do see a better result with the GLP-1 by itself rather than adding both.
It's so funny that you say that, because I I was addicted to sugar, completely, excuse me, addicted to sugar. And I was someone who had to have like that sweet treat after every meal. And I'm doing the GLP-GIP microdose, and I don't have those cravings anymore. I mean, every once in a while I do. So it's definitely helped me with that. But prior to that, I'm 54 years old, in that stage of my life. And I'm someone who works out every single day. I prioritized my strength training. I'm a vegetarian, so I only had lots of protein, always drank water with electrolytes. And I had gone to my primary doctor and asked for blood work. And her response to me was, well, Cindy, your blood work looks really good. You should probably start working out and drinking water. And I was floored by that response, because I felt awful. My face was puffy. I had brain fog, no energy. Every single symptom of menopause was there, and she didn't catch any of it. And then I started working with a functional medicine doctor who did extensive blood work. And she said to me, Cindy, you have so much inflammation in your body. And she recommended that I start with the microdosing and also add in NAD to help with the inflammation. And in 4 months, 24 pounds of inflammation was gone. My brain fog was gone. I finally felt like me again after 2 years of really just putting in all of the work and all of the effort and not seeing any of the results. And to finally see the results of all of my hard work and to feel like I knew I should be feeling was everything. And it's the assist that my body needed. If I had broken my arm, you put a cast on your arm. So if my body needs this assist to help control my inflammation and have my body working at factory settings, why would I not do that? And I know there's such a stigma with some people with using the GLP-1, saying that it's quote unquote cheating. But to me, I've cheated now, possible diabetes. I was pre-diabetic also. My A1C was high. I had beginning signs of thyroid issues and fatty liver. And I just had my blood panel done again about 2 months ago. And all my numbers are perfect now. So that brings me to my next question, because I'm still continuing to microdose now because of all of the amazing benefits that microdosing GLP-1s offer. I have a mom who's end stage renal failure. She goes to dialysis, also has dementia. I have heart disease, cancer in my family, all of these things. So to me, if I can biohack my body to make myself as healthy as possible, as long as possible. If this is available to me as a tool, why would I not use that? So can you maybe explain a little bit about how microdosing can help improve longevity as well?
Of course. We also can understand that I would say the people that stay on GLP-1s the longest are the postmenopausal women. I think I'm sure you probably work with these people now. I'm sure the other practitioners here work with those people, and we do find those seem to be the population that love GLP-1s, and that's because as you enter menopause, you start to have more inflammation. Interleukin-6, interleukin-1 beta, TNF alpha, these all go up in menopause when you lose estrogen. Well, come to find out, this is what GLP-1s work on specifically. They bring inflammation down those areas. So even if we bring you back and give you some hormones back, and it does reduce the inflammation, the GLP-1s are much stronger at doing that than even adding in some estrogen and progesterone to women. So you can give a GLP-1 to a woman, they have much better responses from that inflammation coming down. I am loving it. I would say probably 40 to 50% of my patients are on GLP-1s. I use them left and right. I had a patient today who came in. He has pain kind of all over systemically. We've tried a bunch of other things, BP757, which I'm sure we'll talk about at some point. We've tried Pencek polysulfate for some arthritis conditions. We've been doing tons of injections. And I finally was just like, I don't know why I haven't considered putting you on GLP-1 in the last 2 months. Because for inflammation, there really aren't many peptides that you can get systemically that work that well at bringing inflammation down. And again, postmenopausal women, lots of inflammation. All of you women typically get into menopause and you don't feel good. You ache, you pain, you just feel more tired. Everything changes. Insulin sensitivity, like you mentioned already, this is part of what happens when you lose estrogen. So the GLP-1s really have a really strong fit in most women. Doesn't mean I don't use them in men as well or younger women, but I do find that population likes to microdose and stay on long term. So we want to be very clear. People that are on GLP-1s are very fearful of having this long term. Hey, I take this. Do I have to be on the GLP-1 forever to keep the weight off? That is the biggest fear that everyone has because we don't want to take something forever. Now, it's one thing to take it forever because we want to improve the longevity or because we want to improve some inflammation, some of these other things that we look at for longevity. But I think there's a big fear for us thinking, well, if I stop getting this, am I going to blow back up? Am I going to put on 10, 20, 50, 80 more pounds that I lost again? And the big thing that is really needs to be understood by many people out there is that we're doing diet and lifestyle changes at the same time. Everyone out there that's talking about this, one of the big things we want to make clear to people is you need to make some lifestyle changes too. The GLP-1s work great, right? They're going to burn more fat, especially 𝗤𝗓𝗪tide has some more fat burning to it. So you do see more of that in there. But in general, the GLP-1s and GIP, these peptides that exist right now, they're working on appetite suppression. It's a big part of what goes on. So when you're working appetite suppression and you allow someone to start eating again, guess what? You're going to eat again after you come off this. It's not a permanent fix to your hunger. I need people to understand that we have to start changing things out, right? What does that mean? It means maybe increasing your protein content. Maybe it means thinking about drinking more water, being more hydrated to stay full longer, more fiber in your diet. So we want to do things to change the lifestyle so people can continue to do this long term. I always think of GLP-1s, GIP as training wheels. You put the training wheels on, you get to where you want to go, and then you can either pull it off, which is some people want, or like I like to do with myself and patients, keep on the GLP-1. I've been on semaglutide now for about 2 years. I will continue to be on it long term for as long as I can get it and keep injecting myself. The microdosing of it is really useful. I have patients that times do it once a week. I have patients do even lower dose and doing it 2 or 3 times a week to maintain these levels. It is a 7-day half-life roughly for the GLP-1 semaglutide and a little bit longer for 𝗤𝗓𝗪tide. But in general, people are doing these injections once a week. Some people are doing even smaller doses a few times a week to maintain the levels instead of going up and then down every week. They're kind of taking more of a level throughout the week. So both of those ideas work. We're talking microdosing. Microdosing is anywhere in my practice from usually 0.25 milligrams of semaglutide to 0.5 milligrams for us. Microdose really means anything that's not weight loss. So anything that's not having you lose more weight is where I'm at. And it is a very low dose. For us, 𝗤𝗓𝗪tide is anywhere between 1.5 to 2.5 milligrams, which again works very well. You just need a small amount of these GLP-1s, the GIP, GLP, to maintain all these long-term benefits. what you're really doing is helping improve things like you mentioned, this person with kidney disease. We're now seeing it stops kidney disease in its tracks. So if you have kidney disease or you're worried about kidney disease, you see your kidney numbers going down, a GLP-1 or GLP-GIP is where I start with patients. I have patients that I see starting to enter kidney failure. I'm automatically putting them on semaglutide. There's no doubt in my mind. I'm seeing patients with Alzheimer's. They're coming in, they start getting in the beginning stages of Alzheimer's. Guess what? GLP-1s really help that. They just did a study on, I believe it was liraglutide. They saw a 20% reduction from 1 year to the next with symptoms from Alzheimer's. And they saw 50% more brain mass from 1 year to the next in the control group versus a GLP-1. We think semaglutide and even tirzepatide will work even better than the liraglutide they studied, which is a little bit weaker. So we are seeing these changes in people, and we are seeing things we can actually make very good improvements in across the board. If you can get someone to lose just 10 pounds, you have about a 10% risk reduction of cancer. So, I mean, I tell people, we talk about this as a cheat. I don't think of it as a cheat, right? We have been having food being an enemy for us for years. We have a country right now that has a lot of processed foods, very much compared to the 70s and 80s. Our food has gotten worse and worse. Because of this, they've hijacked our brains. So you want to talk about who's cheating? Well, the food system is cheating. All the food that we have out there has been cheating us. It's been hijacking the way you think about food, more dopamine responses. Now we finally have something to counteract the dopamine response. The GLP-1s work on the dopamine system and can help reset that dopamine system. This is why I'm using in addiction patients. If they have an addiction, I'm using a GLP-1 now. It works really well for my alcoholic patients. I've had people go from 30 drinks a week to 0 in a month. I've seen some incredible stuff. Sugar cravings gone. Again, like you said, tirzepatide works well for that. For you, that's great. Not that I'm saying it doesn't work, by the way. I want to be clear. Tirzepatide does work for cravings as well. I just see a stronger response with the pure GLP-1 in my practice. Again, that doesn't mean it's how it works for everyone, but I do think that any GLP-1 at all is going to reduce your cravings. And so again, microdosing these things long-term, hey, I want to improve my craving control. I want to improve my blood sugar long-term. I want to improve my inflammation long-term. I want to reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease. We see a 30% risk reduction with cardiovascular disease alone. #1 killer in the United States. It is massively important to bring this number down. If we have tools to do it, this is a tool. It's not a cheat. We don't want to feel like this is a cheat for us, but we can do something about it. Why would we not? When it comes to longevity, the only thing you can do is keep adding things as you age. You don't have the same hormone levels you did when you were 18. Those change as you get older. The body falls apart. So when it comes to longevity medicine in general, we have to keep adding things to keep where we're at. It's not like we just did one thing. We didn't go to work out one time. Cindy, you weren't working out in the gym 3 times in a year and said, nope, I did it. I should be where I'm at now. I worked out 3 times. That's all I need to do. You put consistent work and kept.
If only it were that easy.
Right. Yeah. We'd all be doing it. Latoya's over there like, I work my butt off to get this body and to be here.
Right.
And I'm telling you guys, it takes a lot of work.
Yes.
It is hard, right? It is a continual process. And I think this is what the lifestyle changes. We have to explain to patients, hey, you need to go move some. You need to exercise some. The GLP-1s add to the benefit. They're adding to the underlying problem. I think the best population to understand longevity medicine is going to be women. It will always be women. I always joke with my women, look, you started some kind of skincare routine when you were 18, 20s, mid-20s, you started skincare. And I always ask, are you going to stop? When will you stop? Are you going to stop tomorrow? Are you going to stop next week? At what point? You've been doing this for 30 years. Why? And the answer, of course, they always laugh like, haha, I'm never going to stop, obviously. And the answer is because women understand the idea is that we're doing the best we can to keep our face looking as young as we can. Wrinkles are going to happen. Lines are going to happen. We're going to lose fat in our face. But if you don't do something about this and not proactive, it's just going to get worse faster. So if I took all of your skincare away tomorrow, Cindy, I guarantee you're not going to have lines look like you're 80 overnight. You know this, I know this. But does it mean you're going to stop? Absolutely not, because you understand that the idea of beauty and holding this there is all you can do is help add things and keep you there as long as you can. That's how longevity medicine works across the board. All we can do is keep adding things and hold you there. Did you need testosterone at 18? No, absolutely not. Men and women didn't really need 18. Your numbers were great. When you get to being 50, well, that's a different story. Things don't work as well. So we have to just remember these bodies are falling apart. You cannot keep it forever. You cannot hold it forever. unfortunately, all we can do is hold you at the space you're at and then kind of keep you there as long as we can. So again, when we had GLP-1s back, you were a great, patient here, Cindy, because look at you, you returned all the return to function you got, right? You were here before, and then you went to your after, and look at all the changes in your labs. So this is again why I remind patients, like, the beginning part is returning you to function, where we want you to be at 54, what you should be looking like at 54. Like, the way you look right now is how you should be looking for your age, right? And these tools we're offering you, all the things you have, at Ellie MD and these other places that people might buy in peptides, you have all the tools, and we're offering to patients. Now, I understand that this medicine is not inexpensive by any means, but I always remind patients, what is it worth? What is it worth to feel really great in your own body again, to feel like you did years ago, or to just feel like you can look in the mirror and be really proud of how you look? And I am sure a lot of people out there listening are thinking, man, I want to lose 5-10 pounds, or I want to keep this inflammation down, or I want to just feel good. Even screw the weight, they just want to feel good in their bodies. And the GLP-1s do a really good job at that. They help bring the inflammation down. They help your brain function better. I have women that come to me and say their energy is better. I just see so many benefits, and that long-term dosing is meant, again, not for weight loss, but meant to just hold you where you're at for this like longevity dosing, microdosing for as long as you possibly can. So yeah, that's in a nutshell why we do
That
long-term
was
dosing.
amazing. I mean, I could listen to you speak all night long. Thank you for that. Now, another question that we get asked a lot. So our GLP-1 and GLP/GIP is compounded with the B12. That is, I'm going to attempt the pronunciation here. I was practicing. 𝗬𝗪𝗏𝗪ine. Did I get it right?
Yeah, 𝗤𝗪𝗏𝗪ine. Yeah, that's good.
Okay. I am a reading teacher, but I teach small children. So we don't do multisyllabic words that long. So a lot of people ask the question, is it safe in small quantities to be compounded with the GLP-1s?
Yeah, of course. Is it safe? We don't like to use large quantities of 𝗤𝗪𝗏𝗪ine, but in the GLP-1s that are being compounded right now, they're literally put in there as a little, like, it's a little homeopathic little dusting of it. We have to put it in there because right now the FDA has cracked down on companies making any kind of tirzepatide or semaglutide. So if you're making a GLP-1 right now, you have to add something to that, and you have to have a clinical reason. Hey, this patient's getting nauseous from being on this. They need a little B12. And unfortunately, 𝗤𝗪𝗏𝗪ine is just typically what pharmacies put in. I have not seen any pharmacy put in 𝗪𝗏𝗪ine or hydroxycobalamin before. The giant difference between 𝗤𝗪𝗏𝗪ine and these other two is it's synthetic. It's harder for the body to break down. You have to actually move to another step to get methylcobalamin or denosylcobalamin. These are the two active forms in the body. And again, we always worry 𝗤𝗪𝗏𝗪ine has a cyanide on it. Everyone freaks out. Cyanide. Look, you can eat an apple seed and get cyanide. Are you going to die from that? Absolutely not. Like, we eat apple seeds. I just had an apple today and had the whole apple, ate the apple seeds and all. Am I here speaking to you? Of course, I'm still fine. The issue is that if you're a poor methylator, you might have an MTHFR gene mutation, 𝗤𝗪𝗏𝗪ine may not be great for you. But caveat is you are using a tiny little dose that really is not going to change the needle or take much for your body to move this into methylcobalamin or denosylcobalamin. So is it a problem? No, absolutely not. I have patients asking the same question all the time. Hey, this has B12 in it. Wait, is it methylcobalamin? I'm like, no, unfortunately it's not. But the dosing that's put in there is enough to make it look pink. So you get a little pink color to it, but not enough for your body to take some time to process it out. There are probably, I will guess, there's someone probably sensitive enough that might take this B12 compounded version of tirzepatide or semaglutide and maybe have a problem. But that would be less than 1% of people. It'd be such a small amount of people that are going to see any kind of negative reaction from this because you're putting in such a small, tiny amount that it wouldn't make a single difference. If I gave you a shot of B12 with that much in there, you wouldn't see anything change in B12. You wouldn't feel anything. It would do nothing for you. Again, this is more for the reasoning for the FDA to approve it as the pharmacies to actually make it. And if it wasn't there, the pharmacy couldn't compound it. So I do tell patients not to worry. We understand that 𝗤𝗪𝗏𝗪ine is not the best form. We also understand that, hey, it's probably not, it wouldn't be the form I'd use in practice. I've never given patients 𝗤𝗪𝗏𝗪ine ever in practice. But because the pharmacy has to put something in for you to get the medication, at the very small amount, I'm not worried or concerned with the amount being given to patients in this small, tiny dose.
Thank you for that. Wonderful. So while the GLPs are obviously our biggest lever at Ellie MD, we have other peptides too that are really popular and are super helpful with longevity. So I'd like to talk about NAD a little bit. NAD next to the GLP-1 is my personal favorite. I actually take that together with my GLP every week, and it's been amazing in helping with inflammation, menopause symptoms. But on the other side, on the male side, my husband started taking NAD also around the same time that I did because he had a cardiac calcium score that was super high, and he's like incredibly healthy, works out. He does not have an ounce of fat on him at all. And he started taking the NAD, and he's also a golfer. So before, his focus is all over the place, right? So usually when he goes for a round of golf, he would take 2 Advil cold and sinus before the round started to help him focus because there's something in that it helped him focus. And halfway through the round, he would take another one to help him get through, the back 9, right? He did his NAD and he had forgotten about the Advil cold and sinus. He came home, he said, I just had the best round of golf ever. He said, I cannot believe the amount of focus and attention that I was able to have throughout the entire round and did not even need the Advil cold and sinus. That was September. He has not touched Advil cold and sinus since. He's a phys ed teacher. So also, like he said, this year for him in planning his lessons and just staying focused with the things and tasks that he needs to do. For me, like closing the cabinets and, putting things away around the house is also helpful. But can you explain a little bit more about the benefits of NAD, how it works, how it's great for, menopausal women, but also for men, and just everyone in general can benefit from NAD?
Yeah, I love NAD. Nicotinamide adenosine dinucleotide is a B vitamin derivative. So not a small just kind of thing to tell people. It's not technically in the peptide world. It's technically a B vitamin derivative, but we throw it in the peptide world all the time. It's commonly linked to any peptides. If you go buy peptides, like, oh, I'm getting my peptides today, I'm getting NAD, whatever. But I always tell people this is technically a B vitamin. So anyone out there nervous, well, NAD is naturally made. It's made in our body, comes from niacin, then turns into a few different things to eventually become NAD. NAD is found in our mitochondria, specifically really there. It is found as a substrate to help improve the amount of ATP, which is our cell's version of energy. And you need NAD to survive. This level goes down as you age, and it just keeps going down from 18 on. So you are losing NAD every decade. It just keeps going further and further down. Again, this is one of those times, like I said, things go down as you age. All you can do is replace them. I will say about your husband, I'd be interested to see how he felt with taking the Advil cold and sinus with his NAD, because I have found patients on Adderall, or I use modafinil in practice for as like an upper and energy to help with focus. They do synergistically work together. So if you have someone that really wants to focus even better, or they even want to lower their Adderall dose or lower their Vyvanse dose or something else, you can add NAD to that, and you can see it improve the energy and focus and allow them to take less of the medication they're currently on, which is great. Now, one of the big arguments we have with NAD all the time is that it can't get into the cell. There's no information that shows it's in scientific literature, which, there's a lot of research that shows how NAD might work, how it gets into the cell. But I can tell you, Cindy, you're a great example of this. It doesn't matter if we don't have the literature to prove that it's working just yet. It will eventually come out, because you're living proof saying, hey, I'm doing this and it is working, right? And this is what I tell anyone that asks me this question all the time. Hey, are we really getting NAD? Is it changing our levels? Is it helping at all? Well, guess what? There's plenty of people in my practice that take NAD. Energy is better. Inflammation is better. We see brain fog get better. We see things with, like you have the detox pathways work better. NAD works on pretty much everything in your body because it's helping cellular energy. When it comes to working on inflammation, it actually helps. NAD works on SIRT1 and SIRT3. These are just, I get just right now names for you guys, doesn't really matter, but SIRT3 really works on inflammation. So NAD turns on SIRT3, and SIRT3 brings down NF-kappa beta, which again, These things don't really matter to you. Just know that NAD does bring inflammation down, and there are processes to which we see inflammation levels coming down and lowering. You can look at labs and see these things. For example, one of the labs we look at is called CRP, which is C-reactive protein. It's typically thought of as a general inflammation marker, and you can see NAD bringing these levels down. So does it pair well with your GLP-1? Absolutely. One of the adverse effects we do see with GLP-1 sometimes is some fatigue. It does happen. Probably like 4 to 5% of people will get some fatigue on a GLP-1. And I'm not saying, hey, you take an AD to make your fatigue go away. We want to do one thing to fix the other. That's not how we want to work medicine. But we do see it pairing well with helping with that fatigue with the patient, but also with weight loss. We see improvements in more fat oxidation and burning more fat when you do NAD. I've had patients who got stuck and plateaued on their GLP-1 or on their GLP-1 GIP. We added NAD, and all of a sudden the weight just dropped back off. So the NAD is one of the most powerful tools I have in practice. If you want more energy, if you want your brain to work better, if you want to just feel better overall, NAD is it. It is one of our needed substrates. It's what's needed in our body to survive. If you stop making NAD, which there are some drugs out there that can stop these processes from happening, you die. There's just no doubt. So NAD is absolutely necessary. And as we age, since we make less, we do want to find a way to replace it. Sub-Q NAD is one of the best ways. I mean, there is oral in men, there is oral NR. There are ways to do this orally. In fact, there's even oral NAD. A couple companies make this now, but they're not very effective. The oral NAD is about 20% effective, so it's not really going to make the changes. The two other precursors, which is NMN and NR, again, they can raise levels of NAD, but for anyone that has tried a sub-Q version of NAD or an IV or an injection of NAD and compared it to taking NMN or NR, they basically say it doesn't even compare. I really like this. There was a podcast by Andrew Human, one of the big biohackers. He's big into medicine and just kind of like how do I hack my body. He actually discussed one of his podcasts. He took NMN for, I don't know how many months it was. He's like, I saw my skin hair, my skin grew, my nails grew longer, my hair grew really well, but that was pretty much it. I felt no different. He goes, but I did an IV NAD drip, and he goes, wow, my energy was through the roof. I felt phenomenal. The problem with IV NAD is it's short-lived. Right? If you want to maintain those levels, you're doing NAD drips over and over and over and regularly. The sub-Q NAD that we use in practice lets you maintain those levels really well. So you're maintaining a very steady state of NAD. Again, when you do the IVs, it just drops off. So the NAD, again, think of cell energy, right? Whatever your body needs to create energy to run, right? My hand movements, my speaking, everything requires energy in your body. And if you don't have enough NAD, you can't function with any process. So again, even your immune system is going to function better on NAD. So NAD, think of it as like the nature's tool to improve everything that goes on in your body. Now, there are people out there that have adverse reactions. This happens to anything you take, right? There's people who have adverse reactions to GLP-1s or GIPs. It's going to happen. So there are people who say, I took an AD, I felt nothing. I took an AD and I felt sick. These things will happen, but predominantly, most of the people I see in practice take an AD and they're like, this was the best stuff ever. I've had patients reach out to me. In fact, I had a person a couple of days ago reach out, hey, I just got an NAD shot in New York. Oh my God, I felt absolutely incredible. How do I get some? How do I get more of this stuff? Like they're hooked. I have patients that they do shots themselves every 2 days and they cannot go without it now. They're like, my energy is so good. I feel so much better. Again, one of the things NAD works on is neurotransmitters. So you can improve mood by using NAD. And they're like, my mood is so amazing, I can't come off. So you just, your husband's idea of how he felt and kind of experience is exactly what I see in practice. Now, again, why choosing postmenopausal women or men? I mean, women, again, we've been over this, have more inflammation as you age. When you lose your hormones, women, unfortunately, you have more inflammation. This is just what happens. You can look at any scientific paper and find this out. And NAD reverses some of the inflammatory markers. Now, I would say a GLP-1 will work better to reduce your inflammation, but this is layering, this is stacking, this is how peptides work. We are stacking one after another after another. Typically, I'm having patients do multiple peptides or multiple therapies, and NAD is one of the things I'll add on to my GLP-1s or to any thing I'm using in practice because it makes everything work better. So if you're wanting something to improve overall function, NAD is by far one of the best things you can add. And again, who doesn't want more energy as they age, right? Everyone's like, how can I be more energized? How can I get through my day? How can I be more focused? And NAD is really one of those things that can get you there.
Yeah, it's totally my favorite as well. I mean, I ran out a few weeks ago and I was like 3 days late when I was waiting for my new shipment to come. And those 3 days, I felt myself dragging. I really did. So I don't ever want to go without it. It's just simply amazing. And I
And
recommend
Cindy,
it.
I want to add, this isn't like I mean, anyone out there listening, this isn't a sales pitch. I mean, this is right here in practice day after day. It's like people clamoring to get more NAD. I mean, they're like, I'm out. I don't feel good. I want this stuff. And I want everyone to understand, you know, this is literally what's being practiced, and I see it in practice every day. NAD is, my God, people, get frustrated with me. And we haven't gotten delivered yet. What happened to the pharmacy? Why hasn't it gotten, and I hear this left and right, and I'm like, there's no sales pitch about NAD. It really just works this well. And again, I want to tell people, if it's not working well on you, okay, it's not the right therapy. This is how all these things work. If it doesn't work well on you, we go to the next thing. There are tons of tools in this field that we can use, and NAD is one of the tools. So while you might be like, oh my God, this is the best in the world, I've had patients say, oh, I didn't feel anything. And I'm like, I feel so bad for you because this is such an amazing tool to have. And I feel so bad you don't get the benefits, because we see so many people that are like, please give me, I'll dump buckets on myself. I can't take any less of this. So,
It's so true. And another thing I noticed too, like I've had frozen shoulder, like horrible shoulder impingement for years, and nothing I did made it any better. I had gone to I get my chiropractor, was going 2-3 days a week. I was getting massages. I had the injections, all the things, and nothing made it better. I couldn't do a push-up. I couldn't even raise my arm above my head at all. And I started with the NAD, and I noticed that it helped the inflammation. The pain started to go away. I was able to lift my arm, but I'm going to transition now into the Wolverine stack, the BPC-157 TB500, because that was the total game changer for me. And I have no pain at all in my shoulder now after years of pain. I almost went for surgery a few years ago because it was so bad. I couldn't do anything. And I can lift 20, 25-pound weights over my head. It's amazing. There's so many benefits to the Wolverine stack. I started with the injections, then we weren't able to get it for a while. So I moved to the oral, and still having amazing results with that. And a favorite story is my mother-in-law. She's 82 years old. She had knee replacement surgery about 3 weeks ago. But prior to that, for 2 years, she was in such excruciating pain. She was taking Advil, Tylenol multiple times a day, every single day, couldn't get through the day. She had injections. She went to physical therapy. And I had wanted her to try the injection. She didn't want the needle. So when we had the pill available, I said, please just try this. I'm begging you, for your health. And she finally agreed to. And after about a week, she called me and she said, I cannot believe this, but for the first time in over 2 years, I was able to get through the day and not take any Advil or Tylenol. And she had to stop for a week before her surgery, and she could not wait. Literally, I picked her up at the hospital the morning after her knee replacement, and she said, I just want to get home and have my BPC. She went for her follow-up last week, and the nurse that was checking her out said, so how long has it been since your surgery? A year or two? You're so well healed. She said, a year or two? I just had the surgery 2 weeks ago. So the healing properties are simply amazing. Can you explain a little bit about how it works and the benefits of the BPC-157 TB500?
of course. We should first say why it's called the Wolverine stack. If people don't understand, Wolverine is an X-Man, and he heals very, very, very quickly. So we call it the Wolverine stack because you heal so incredibly fast and so well. BPC-157 was originally found in the gut, in the stomach acid. As we know, the stomach acid is really harsh. There's a lot of cell turnover in the stomach, and that stomach acid basically had some stuff in it, originally identified as gastropentopeptide 5, and this peptide basically helped heal the gut line all the time. We made a synthetic version called BPC-157 based on this, what we had in the gut. We found it works across the board for helping heal anything and everything. It improves things like angiogenesis, actually more angiomodification, which is just a fancy word to say it moves blood vessels to the area of injury to help heal. So it brings inflammation down, it helps healing across the board. BP157 orally or injected are both great products. I use more of the oral for the gut issues, but again, since we've lost it, a lot of compounding pharmacies, oral's all we have. It does work orally. It's not as strong typically, but people still will take oral and say, wow, my whole body pain is gone. I mean, I remember when I first started practice was using oral BPC. My first patient started using it for ulcerative colitis. I started seeing her and she's like, oh my God, I have been looking for some of those peptides. I had just gone to my first peptide seminar. She's like, I want to do this. She's my favorite patient. She's still on graduate list. I talk about her. I'm very happy with her care for this day. And she got so much better from just BPC 157. It was a massive change for her. She was like, I feel so much better. And we started giving to patients regularly, just giving BPC 157. Let's see how this works orally. And I had people that tell me I'm sleeping better. Oh my God, I have no aches and pains anymore. And I kept thinking to myself, well, they've been telling us these seminars, the injections are the best way to go. But, come to find out the oral does work very well. I want people to know it's not that if you take the oral and don't see anything, it doesn't mean BPC is not right for you. The injection may be a better option at that point, but a lot of people can take the oral BPC 157 and feel phenomenal. They're like, my aches and pains are gone. It's great. Good repair recovery. For anyone out there that's like, I'm not repairing, I'm not recovering. My recovery sucks, especially as we age. Recovery goes down, right? This is part of what happens. This adds that layer of inflammation coming down and healing. So again, you can stack obviously a GLP-1, you can stack NAD, you can stack BPC 157. This becomes stacks. And again, if it sounds like it's getting expensive, it is. But again, where's your pain point? Where do you want to feel better? How do you want to do things? And again, the peptides work supremely well at improving these things. They are just going to nudge your body into this direction. They're nudging you. It's not a full kick. You're not taking an ibuprofen and hurting your liver. In fact, when you take BPC 157, you're improving liver function. You're improving liver enzymes. So what we see from these peptides is just so many improvements. In BPC 157, I've been to many, many seminars on this, and it is typically the #1 peptide that every single practitioner talks about. Like, look, we love BPC 157 because it's one of the safest things that exists and has the ability to change the landscape of how you're healing and how you're feeling and how your recovery is. I use BPC 157 all the time. I personally have been taking it for the last 5 years. I have never come off BPC. I mean, unless I run out, like happens sometimes, but I run it continuously myself. I don't come off. I think it's such a great peptide. We have patients who've been on it as long as me. Some people say you could cycle it. I don't want to be in pain. I don't want to be my recovery to be good. I work out twice a day, pretty much every day. And if I'm working out that much, I need something to recover. And as I get older, you have more and more recovery issues. And especially these postmenopausal women that follow me over a while, these women that follow me on Instagram. And I'm like, listen, you want to improve your bodies? BPC 157 is a great thing. Take the pills. If you're like, hey, I don't want to spend the money, try the pills. Again, if you don't see a difference, okay, no problem. Fine, wasn't right for you. But I keep telling people, use these things and see if they work for you. TB500, otherwise known as thymosin beta-4, thymosin beta-4 was actually more studied. It is naturally occurring in the body. We make it in the thymus gland. It does repair and recovery as well. They stack really well. When you're using thymosin beta-4 and you use BPC 157, they work slightly differently. Thymosin beta-4 does really well for scar tissue. So if anyone's post-surgery, you're having scarring, guess what? Thymosin beta-4 reduced that scarring. A lot of people understand after surgery that scar tissue can cause a lot of issues. Pain is one of them. And if you can heal better with that scar tissue, you'll have better responses post-surgery. So thymosin beta-4 is part of my surgery protocol of every patient I see. They're doing BPC 157, just like your mom, thymosin beta-4, and it's phenomenally, an improvement across the board. People come back and say, oh my God, I can't believe the surgeons come back and say, what are you doing? Now, obviously, these patients, it's unfortunate because patients are scared to tell the doctors, hey, this is like our secret. I can't tell you. Like, I don't want you to know I did this. You're really mad at me. But realistically, we should be talking about this more. I mean, my entire platform on Instagram is education. I need people to be educated. I have practitioners, I have doctors, I have surgeons reach out to me all the time. I had a surgeon shadow me recently and come learn from me. Like, these peptides are out there, and honestly, practitioners do want access to them. Unfortunately, some people stuck in conventional medicine. They're like, this is bunk. There's no information. The data's bad. I'll tell you right now, BPC 157 has almost no clinical studies, but there's I think like 2 that exist. That doesn't mean it's dangerous. No, it just means it costs a lot of money to run studies. So unless we have some billionaire friends, and even billionaires on this line want to raise your hand and tell me you got some money, I'm happy to take some money for studies, because I'll tell you right now, we need more studies on peptides. BPC 157 is such a safe thing. I've been using it for thousands of patients now. And I think the only adverse effect I've seen so far is I had a patient with a histamine response that did it years ago. And again, 1 out of 1,000, more than that, has not had a reaction. So I tell people these are incredibly safe. Thymosin beta-4, again, very, very safe. I will say thymosin beta-4 in its true form, the injection does have a bit more risk of anaphylaxis, allergies. So we do see people getting allergic to that one more frequently than BP-757, but that's something we naturally make. And so I've had patients who had allergic reactions, little hives to the site, which is, it's again, it happens. Technically, any peptide, anything you take can have an allergic reaction. I see it with things like GLP-1s I can get, an allergy to. So again, it was not a big deal. But thymosin beta-4 paired with your BP-757 is going to help improve that healing. I've seen things such as bone healing increases by 30%. You get 30% stronger bone. Everyone that talks about bones breaking and growing back stronger is not telling the whole truth. They don't really grow back stronger. There's actually this line in there, and that's an ability for that bone to break again down that same line. So you want really well-formed bone, and BPC and thymosin beta-4 can make that happen. So I am constantly saying, if you're having surgery, this is the stack we're doing, at least for a minimum of a month afterwards. I try to start beforehand, and then I'll move to using it afterwards, because you want the before healing starting. And once they cut you open, then we gotta start healing it. So again, BP-757, cannot say enough good stuff. I use that across the board. Thymosin beta-4, again, is a great option. I don't typically start with that one, only because we see more healing with BP-757. But thymosin beta-4 does have a really good job. Again, if you have any scar tissue that you're working on, I won't say we will remodel your scar tissue that's old as well as the new fresh scar tissue being laid down, but it still can improve old scar tissue as well. So I always tell people, hey, thymosin beta-4 could be used if you have scar tissue. I do a lot of scar injections, a lot of scar therapy. I'll always try to throw thymosin beta-4 while I'm treating scars, because it is useful on the back end. But yeah, the Wolverine stack, there's nothing better. I can't say enough good stuff about the Wolverine stack. If you haven't used something for recovery repair, definitely look at oral BP-757 and the thymosin beta-4 oral products that work as well.
Well, thank you so much. I think we've hit like all the MVPs here. We've got, the GLPs and NAD and the BPC. And like I said, we could probably talk all night and just, pick your brain and ask you more questions, but I want to be respectful of your time. And I also want to thank you so much for offering your time to us tonight and joining us on this Zoom. We really appreciate it. We're so many people who follow you and are big fans of yours and have learned so much from your content that you put out, every single day. So thank you so much for giving us your time. And maybe we can have you back sometime for a part 2 and ask some more questions. You're more than welcome to stay and hang out a little bit longer. We're just going to kind of wrap up our Zoom with a little bit more Ellie talk and shouting some people out. So hang out. We'd love for you to hang out, but if you need to go, we totally understand. Thank you.
Before you go,
I really appreciate it. The gym is calling my name. I had to get my second work in,
Yes.
but I appreciate all of you guys. Please have me back. Yeah.
One thing before you go, Doc, if you can give us your Instagram handle so we can all
That's
follow
what I was going to say. I'm sorry, I almost forgot.
I wasn't going to forget that. He's content king. We've been on you for months, way before Ellie MD stuff, guys. So,
Gary, I'm laughing because I just filmed a bunch. This weekend I was at the Biohackers World Conference in Chicago, and I was moderating a panel. They wanted me to film a bunch of content, and I kept after the first person I was like, wait, I forgot to ask the guy for his handle. Oh my god, I forgot to ask this guy his handles, and I felt like such a jerk. And so everyone afterwards, I'm like, make sure you tell me your handles, because if I forget this, I'm gonna feel super bad. You can find me at Dr. Jason Pencek, so Dr. Jason Pencek. That's it. I pretty much only use Instagram. I do have a TikTok. It is Dr. Thirst Trap. I don't use it, so probably go follow that. It was a joke from a patient many years ago. I've gone for like 3 years. I don't post on that at all, but I do post prolifically on the Instagram page. So yeah, Gary, you like that one? That was my TikTok was a big joke. So
thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Thank all of you so much. And you all have a great night.
Thank you.
Rock and roll. Thank you. Go ahead, Cindy. Continue.
Okay, thank you so much. Oh my goodness, what an amazing call that was. And I've been following him for months and months and months, as I know many of us have, and we've learned so much from his content. So it's such an honor to have him with us. Also, I'd like to thank all the people who have invited for this call tonight. We had almost like 200 people on this Zoom, and I'd like to give some shout outs to all the people who helped put this call together and invited guests to join us tonight. So I'm going to run through my shout out list. And it's a long one. And if I mispronounce anyone's name, I am apologizing in advance. 𝗧𝗨𝗦𝗧𝗢𝗏, Delamater, Andrea Gaviria, Jennifer Worsland, Beverly Jones, Danny Fay, Tanya Candy, Latoya Moody, Arlisha Abdullah, me, thank you for my guests, Tina Taylor, Jennifer Citron, Jessica White, Dr. Nayla Goldenberg, Miriam Lima, Carolyn Samuels, Adrian Regan, George Ward, Ariana Lara, Sue Lynn, Dr. Sky Davis, Bonnie Bengry, Jennifer Worsland, Gary Simmonds, Stacy Goldberg, and Chris Lanto. Thank you so much for inviting all of your people. And if I missed anybody, thank you everybody for joining us tonight. Really appreciate it. At this time, I'm going to turn this Zoom over to Mr. Gary Simmonds.
All right, great. I'm going to wrap up real fast and furious. So thank you so much for doing an incredible job, Cindy. That was great. We appreciate you putting this together. You made that happen. And we got a chance to piggyback on that effort and benefit. So I'm going to show you guys and gals where to find the good stuff. You all may not know that Ellie MD has other products like sexual wellness products. We even have a skincare, prescription therapy, peptide, skincare, prescription grade, guys. Unbelievable what our biochemist has put together for us. So yes, this is the longevity company. We recently launched the Support Plus protein blend, which I am a fan of, big time. I take the protein. It has fiber. You got to keep the motility going. It has the protein, which obviously we need, especially if you're on GLPs. You're not eating as often as you probably used to because your body's consuming the fat that it's storing. We got to get the right amount of protein in and prioritize that. And it also has collagen. Somebody asked me a couple of weeks ago, they're like, are you using the skincare? I'm like, no. They're like, your face is glowing. I said, well, it might be the collagen in our protein blend. I use the coffee version. We have a free shipping code that expires this month, guys and gals. So whoever invited you on, make sure you get their website link and use their website name as a free shipping code for the protein. We do have a promo that's still running. We had a price break promo on the GLP/GIP, right? On the microdose and the weight loss version. It's actually got a big price cut right now. It used to be like, $13.97 for the 3-month program. It's only $11.37 now. And that's for 3 months. You have companies out there selling that for $1,100 per month. They can't touch our 3-month program. The GLP-1 is $897 for 3 months, not $800 per month, which is what people are doing. We don't take insurance, but we do take the HSA, FSA, the high spending accounts that people have at their places of employment. We also have PayPal, Pay Later, and Klarna and different ways that you can pay monthly. And if you choose that option, it doesn't matter. You're still going to get the full 3-month supply up front. When you go to the website, make sure you get the FAQ video. You're going to get a message from the person that invited you on. If you don't get it, say, hey, where's that link with the FAQ? You got to go to the link. It'll get your questions answered about some more nuances of peptides. You create yourself a free account. It's free to be a customer. We have over 100,000 patients here at Ellie MD. We're growing really fast. We've had 3,000% growth in our first year, which is just nuts. Everyone is not here for the business. Some of you just came on to support your friend. We don't want to get you caught up in the business conversation. If you want to stay for that, because I know we have business owners and practitioners that may be looking to bring on their patients, you can hang out with us for a couple of minutes. I just don't want to congest this part of the call while I wrap up for the general audience. Just tell you where to go. Find the link. If you're getting the GLP product for weight loss, you got to have a BMI of 30 or above to get approved for that. If your BMI is less than 30, but it's at least a 27 and you have a comorbidity, something like a high blood pressure, diabetes, family history of heart disease, which impacts almost everyone, you can be considered, but it is a case-by-case basis based on the practitioner's review. They will have an appointment with your file, not with you. So when you fill out your health assessment, it's protected by HIPAA. We never see it here at Ellie MD. Put in all your good stuff. You don't have to draw labs. You don't have to do that. But you will be asked to submit the date, just the month and the year of your last lab work and your last exam, but not the results, not the reports. We just want to know that somebody's seen you the last 3 years. Now, as you're checking out, it's really simple. The Ellie Pay allows you to break up your monthly payment, like I said. But moving on down the station, guys, have fun checking us out. Go down the rabbit hole. No pressure. Do your due diligence. I'm going to move on through the station here and get to the next side, the business side. So if you want to stick around for this part, you can. Respectfully, you don't have to. But yes, we're growing like bananas. In our first year of business, we just had our first birthday anniversary in June. We paid out almost $10 million in referral bonuses to practitioners, business owners, individuals like yourself that just onboard their patients. You do not have to be a part of our team building model, right? I love that because I've been doing this for like 28 years. And I've earned a lot of money in this space. I just can't say how much, but the last team I built was over $50 million in orders. We were enrolled over 200,000 people. I can say that legally. When I started, it was just me. So yes, I did figure out how to make this type of business work, but you don't have to be a part of the team building. Sometimes practitioners want to offload the burden of the patient care when it comes to weight management or even peptide therapy or protocol. We write all the prescriptions. What does that mean? You have no liability, and you do not have to be licensed to write prescriptions for peptides. We're licensed in all 50 states. So wherever you have patients or clients or customers, maybe you're a personal trainer or a physician, it doesn't matter, or an individual who just want to take care of your friends and family members, you don't have the liability. We manage the entire protocol from start to finish, and you're paid a weekly commission and also a monthly. Obviously, we can't pay commission on the sale of a prescription drug because that's illegal, but we have something called PV, right? That's personal volume. That's attached to each product, and we can legally pay commissions on that. That's an associated markup value for like distribution, advertising, logistics, things of the sort. Pharmacies and hospitals have been using that same coding for many years, and we do things the right way. We're compliant. We're also accredited by the National Association of Boards of Pharmacies, meaning we don't play in the black market or the research space. We have so many clinicians here that are happy to come to Ellie MD because they felt very, indifferent about playing around with research grade peptides with their patients. There are not a lot of solutions out there. So people have been kind of desperate. We just don't do the black market stuff or the research grade. We're pharmacy grade only, sterile pharmacies, FDA inspected facilities, FDA approved ingredient suppliers only. And yes, we stand behind that accreditation for safety, efficacy, potency verification, compliance, HIPAA, the whole 9 yards. It's only $79 one time to become a brand partner here at Ellie MD. We pay that once. We don't have a monthly membership, and we're not getting you for more money every year. You just pay the $5 per month for the back office report and software, and that's it. You get your account active with your 200 PV first order or your customer order. Some people just join us because they want to get enough credits or commissions to cover the cost of their peptides. I use peptides. Y'all saw my picture. I'm down to 80 pounds. I'm on other peptides now to build lean muscle, like 𝗖𝗪, which I absolutely love. But I don't pay for that stuff with extra money. I was spending $20-30 a day on food anyway. I don't eat that much anymore. So the money I was spending on food and overeating and the sugar drinks and all those things, we basically redirect. And we save that money, but we spend some of it towards our peptides so we can live longer. So U+4 covers yours, guys. Not hard to find customers or patients who need peptides. This is just an example. Of course, there's some people earning this on a monthly basis. That's not an income claim, rah-rah, or hype. That's just reality. Why? They've onboarded 500 plus patients, 700 plus patients. That's just reality. If you're not doing that, maybe you're like me, you just have a few friends, all right? Or maybe you have a smaller practice. Let's say in this example, you refer 10 people in the first month. That's $770 you're earning in commissions if you're just looking at our most basic product, the GLP-1. And of course, we have a lot more. But in this example, 6 months in, you're bringing in an extra $5,000 a month, 12 months in, 10 grand. Why is that important? Practitioners or business owners, they're entrepreneurs as well. They normally pay themselves last. It's good to have a little take-home pay, but we handle the protocol, we handle the expenses. You don't have to buy inventory. You don't have to buy $1 million worth of peptides for your practice and set appointments to inject or administer and take all the risk and liability. We do all of that. We even do the follow-up. Our program is medically supervised. Your patients or clients that you refer have unlimited access to telemedicine support at no additional charge. Our prices even cover the shipping and the taxes, guys. We're here to stay. We take care of patients, and that's a priority because our company was founded by the biochemist, 𝗤𝗏𝗧𝗢𝗏. She doesn't play around. She's a longevity practitioner, a gerontologist, and a biochemist. So we're not in the space of just trying to make a quick buck because peptides is a booming industry right now. This is her passion and her life. So our prices are still accessible for that reason, and quality is not compromised. So this gives you an example, what you're looking at on this screen, of our sliding scale from 20% to 40%, but I'm not going to deep dive here. Bottom line is you got about 20 customers or so, you're bringing in $2 grand a month. You could 10x that, as you've seen on the example I gave you before. Some people are bringing in a lot more than that, but it just depends on the effort and the practice that you have or the hustle that you have as an individual. No get rich quick schemes, claims, or hype here. All right. Now, the team building model is a lot of fun for those people who choose to do that. I do love to play in this space because I like seeing people win. You know, me personally, I have nothing against people working hard for a living. I've done that for years, up until my 20s, then I became an entrepreneur. And I learned what it was like to struggle when I owned a business, but the business actually owned me when I made good money and didn't have time. So I wasn't money broke anymore, but then I became time broke. And then you have to kind of move along with how things change in the economy. So I like the idea of passive residual income, that you can build a business where people can consume something that's of value, continue to reorder, and you're getting paid again every time they do. And now they start stacking other peptides, add in protein, add in skincare. Maybe your patient just needed something for, mental clarity or menopause of support or cognitive clearance, but now they're using a protein blend on a daily basis, and you're getting paid a commission on that. That's how you build a bigger monthly basket. And as you go through these ranks, you're picking up an additional $1,500 all the way from lead brand partner to senior manager. And we're breaking ranks so fast now, I can't even keep up, to be honest with you. Then you get to the senior level ranks like director, advanced director. We just broke a brand new advanced director this morning with Miss Jessica White. We have 2 brand new senior directors last month. Dr. Sky Davis, Latoya Moody. We have Coach Tony Freeney out there, Cindy Crayder, who you've seen on, George Ward. Folks are getting it in. What am I saying? Everyday regular people are winning here. That's just the bottom line, right? So you don't have to be interested in that side of it. We have a two-sided coin for the people that are. And that's what makes this exciting, because you can kind of get in where you fit in. So as I wrap up, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time. I'm going to have one person jump on and close this call out with me. Miss Jessica White, if you could jump on really quickly. She's a nurse out of Texas, and she just come in and has worked this simple system. She has big goals for her family, and Ellie MD is actually putting her in position right now to be able to capitalize on moving forward, gaining some forward momentum with achieving some of those goals. So Jessica, if you could hear me, if you could come on mic real quick, if you're out there.
I'm
All
here.
right, I see you, and congratulations again. I'm behind on the banner. You guys are breaking ranks so fast. Like, honestly, I can't keep up. So you're not supposed to be here in this spot as a director. You're now an advanced director over here. And I have another one with you right here on the new version, because you're also over 5,000 in PV for the month. So super congratulations to you. Just share real quickly how Ellie MD has been a help to your family on the business side as a medical professional as well, what you're seeing. And I know you're also a fitness competitor. You compete at the professional level. So, you got a lot going on. We're really glad you're here. I'm going to pull your picture up real quick. Go ahead and start your share. You're fine.
First of all, I want to thank everybody that I invited that joined on today. And I'm super excited for everybody that's here to listen to that business aspect. I had never really done network marketing before. And what attracted me the most was the fact that there's so much camaraderie in this space. I am a full-time nurse. I've been a nurse for half my life. I like to say that because I've been a nurse since I was 18. I've been a nurse for 18 years. I'm 36 years old. I've been a bodybuilding competitor for 3 years. I've done 7 bodybuilding shows. I'm a nutrition coach as well, as a life purpose coach. And I have a 6-year-old daughter. And, I do have, a family that I do tend to when I come home. And I got to a point where, my husband and I, we've been renting for 10 years. And I had been trying to find something, been praying to find something that was going to help me to not have to physically clock in somewhere and take more time away from my family. And I had been praying for years and years that something would come up. So I just knew something would come up some way, somehow. And I always tell people, you never know what's going to come and how it's going to come to you. So I remember getting a Zoom invite from Miss Latoya Moody, who's become a very, very dear friend of mine. And she's our senior director with Ellie. And, I didn't join the first Zoom the first time, and I missed it. And she followed up. We always follow up with our prospects or people that were interested at one point. And she mentioned, hey, did you get to watch the Zoom? And I said, no, I didn't get a chance. She said, well, we're having another one. Can you hop on? And I said, oh, sure. So I joined it again. After hearing everybody's story and listening, to peptides, I had been in the peptide space for a while. I just realized, you know what, this is something that I'm very interested in. I got on a call with Mr. Gary Simmonds. I got on a call with her. We discussed partnership, and I just felt like this opportunity was a godsend for me at the time. And I was super, super grateful. And I jumped headfirst, which I always do that. Anything that I want to do or that I set my mind to do, I jump in 100%. And I was just grateful that I did, because that was 3 months ago. And if you had told me that I would be where I'm at right now as an advanced director with this company 3 months ago, I would have told you you're crazy. I did not expect this. I love the team I'm working with. I'm super grateful to be in this space. You know, we have a complete network set up with Mr. Gary Simmonds. He's got his 25 years of marketing experience that he just shares his plethora of knowledge with his team, which he doesn't have to do, but he does for free. And he basically sets you up for success with his system. And all we have to do is follow it. So this is a no-brainer, $79, which you'll get back within your first week of being with this company, especially if you're in the peptide space and it's a passion you share just like me. I just feel like it's a no-brainer to join. And you know, if you're having second thoughts, don't have second thoughts. I just jumped head first, and here I am 3 months later, and I'm looking forward to what the future is going to bring with this company because it's amazing. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yes, and you're amazing as well. Thank you for being here. And Cindy Crayder, thank you so much for putting this together. Any final words from you, Cindy, as we wrap up? I want to thank you for being so bold and courageous to reach out to Dr. Pencek and set this up. So I appreciate you. Anything you want to share, Cindy, before we wrap up right now?
Just thanks,
There you
thanks
are,
everybody for joining
there you
tonight.
are.
And thank you for recording, Gary, because I'm already getting like 92 messages.
Me too.
Recorded,
Me
it
too.
was recorded.
Me
So thank
too.
you.
Oh, thank you so much. You did a great service to your team family today and to Ellie MD. Thank you so much for all you did. Okay.
Thank you.
And all
Thank
that
you.
you do. Continued growth to you and your team. You guys are amazing. All right, guys and gals, we appreciate y'all for sharing your time with us this evening. I'm going to end the recording and wrap this up. God bless you guys. Make sure you take advantage of the sale. It expires at the end of the month. The free shipping on the protein and the GLP GIP is on discount. So take advantage of that. Great job, Miss Tina Taylor and Miss Latoya Moody and everyone else for turning up tonight. God bless you guys.